Welcome to It's a Mental Thing, the podcast that dives deep into the power of the mind and the heart of mental health. Whether you're navigating life's challenges, seeking balance, or simply curious about how to care for your mind, you're in the right place. Each week, we explore stories, strategies, and expert insights to help you build resilience, find clarity, and embrace a healthier you. So take a deep breath and let's journey together toward a brighter, more mindful tomorrow. Welcome to It's a Mental Thing, because your mental health matters.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to It's a Mental Thing podcast. We are joined today by a guest, and I'm so excited. You found this one.
I did.
The credit to this guest goes to you, Erica.
Yeah.
But we are joined by Brock Olsen, the relationship expert?
The dating expert.
Dating expert. Gosh, I knew I would get it wrong. Brock Olsen, the dating expert.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on today.
Yes, and you're from Chattanooga.
I am, yeah. I drove up this morning. Drove down this morning.
I told you how much I love Chattanooga. Mm-hmm. It's just, I feel like it's a very underrated city.
It is. It's quiet. Don't tell anybody about it. It's a good secret. It's a good secret.
Though, right? Can we start, though, by just diving into how you became this dating expert?
Sure.
I just have so many questions about that. So
sure. So that's probably the question I get asked the most. How has someone become a dating coach?
Yeah.
I think that for most coaches, they've probably gone through an experience that required them to become what they needed. And that was my case. So I met my ex-wife when I was 16. We got married at 23, divorced at 31. I had never actually dated in my entire life. Oh. So then here I am at 31, and the modern dating landscape is so totally different from what it was like in 2006, 2004, all that. And I had no idea what I was doing. But I didn't want to make a fool of myself, so I dedicated every waking moment to understanding what men and women are actually wanting today, what they're trying to achieve with their relationships, what it is, going on that keep people from having miscommunication. Why are they so terrified of dating? How can we actually enjoy this? And so I had a company for 12 years. I had studied psychology in college as well. And I just pulled all of that experience into just understanding this niche as best as I possibly could. And so I've worked with probably like one-on-one about 1,800 people, helping them find themselves, helping them find love again, helping them get married. So
wow,
that's kind of that's my story.
That's very cool. And like, just to kind of, you saw a need, you filled it, right?
I needed what I am. I had no answers. I did seek out one or two mentors in the space. They saw that I had a really good understanding of how to communicate my needs, but also hear what other people are needing and guide them through a very similar process. And that was really healing for me. And I think it is for a lot of people to be there for somebody when you yourself are going through something. It just allows you to connect with their experience and empathize so much more deeply.
Yeah, absolutely. So what topic do we have for Brock today?
So we're going to talk about how to tell if they are ready for love or just killing time.
Okay.
So emotional availability.
Okay. Emotional availability. What comes to your mind, Brock, when you hear that?
Oh, goodness. Emotional availability. Well, what comes to my mind is how many people are out here dating and they don't actually know themselves. They don't know what they're looking for. Yeah. They don't know what their triggers are. They don't know why they repeat certain cycles. Like, why are they reacting certain ways? Why are they afraid of connection? And they're just kind of going on a trauma autopilot, if you will.
Okay.
So there are questions like on first dates that you can ask to kind of suss out if somebody's just like killing time or if they are actually ready to start dating. I actually made a post about this just recently. I said, like, these are 10 first date questions you can kind of sprinkle in, so you're not just asking like, hey, what's your favorite color? Because no one wants that. We actually want to have a fairly productive first date, right? One of those is like, how do you handle stress? Like when you're like Erica, you are a therapist, you have a child, you're modeling, you're doing a lot of things. How do you unwind? What's your typical Tuesday night look like? What's your Sunday afternoon look like? How are you taking care of yourself? And almost nobody's asking questions like that.
Gosh, that's
I know right now I was like, wait,
What?
what?
Look at the reaction.
I know. I thought but me and you both were like, what do we do?
Whoa. I
Yeah.
mean, that's such a good question. It's a deep question, but it's also not like,
That's not too
what
personal.
kind of childhood
No.
trauma do you have? It's not that question, but it's deep enough, right?
Because you should be wondering, how are they taking care of themselves? If you are on a first date with somebody, you're trying to see if there's compatibility. If you're not actively engaging in self-care, I don't really know if I want to try to build or blend
Yeah,
anything with
right.
you, because you're going to require me to do the self-care on your part. I'm not going to do it.
Well,
Right.
why do you think people don't ask those kind of questions?
I think that, one, they're not emotionally aware themselves. They are afraid of coming off too intentional. Because the thing about dating, this is really an interesting, great question. There's got to be almost this mystery of like, do you actually care about me? And if you're asking questions that are super intentional like that, you're kind of giving it away. And we need to wonder a little bit, like, do they actually like me? I mean, they're asking really deep questions. Surely they do. Now, do I actually even like them? Do I even want to open up to them? So I think
Yeah.
people are almost afraid of asking that question for fear of a rejection.
Yes. Yeah. So say, for example, say someone on a first date, someone, because with my patients who are dating or like the dating scene is just terrible for them. If someone was to ask them that question, I do know some that could openly and willingly answer that question. But then I know some that would be like, that was a weird question to ask on the first date. So how do you gauge that by how they respond? And
Sure.
what do you think?
Well, I think that if you're going on dates, that means that you're ready to start entertaining the idea of something blending into your life. And that is not in my opinion, a very deep question.
Yeah.
Hey, how do you unwind? If you don't have an answer to that, what are you doing? Like, you don't know if you like to Netflix. You don't know if you like to read books, if you like to go on walks. Like, do you not know yourself? Because if you are asked that question and you don't have an answer, you don't need to be on a second date. You need to go home and reassess what you're doing.
That's
Dang.
I know. This is a lot of food for thought. Okay, can you give me, I want to know some other questions that you would ask.
Some other questions. What makes you feel seen?
We're
Do
doing
you
all
see
this wrong.
he's
Yeah.
like he's stumping us even like
In
I
the
like,
moment.
what makes you feel seen? Like, what a great question, but what would you say? What would you say if I asked you, like, what makes you feel seen?
Well, it comes down to the love language topic.
I mean, yeah. Like, I think if a male were to ask me that on a date and he says, so what makes you feel seen? I think the first thing that would come to my mind would be like my personality and like who I am, like my character. And I don't know if that's the right answer or if there is a right answer.
Well, how do you feel seen by others? Like, what can someone else do to make you feel seen?
So, but that seems like a whole different question.
I mean, that was the original question.
If-
What makes you feel seen? Like, what can
makes you
somebody
feel
do
seen?
to make you feel seen?
So if I said when someone is proud of me or shows appreciation to me.
So
that makes
I
me
would
feel
dive deeper.
seen.
So how can someone show you appreciation to where you feel seen? Like, when's the last time that you felt that? When's the last time you felt appreciated?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all.
The dating world is going to change.
It needs to.
It does.
We need to start asking these
It
types
does.
of questions.
And I'm even thinking of these questions in terms of like I've been married for, did I say 15 years?
15.
Okay, 15. We were wondering about the different. Okay. So I've been married 15 years, but I'm even thinking these questions, like even just asking these questions of my spouse, like how helpful would that be if there's a time where we're in a rut and we just need to kind of get back to ground zero, right?
Well, in marriage and family therapy too, like it is so important to check in
Yes.
with your partner. And that may be like every Friday night or something to where you check in and you could ask questions like that
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
and get an answer. Or, you know, maybe it's been a rough week or you're mad or you're frustrated. But if you sit down and take the time to ask those kind of very specific questions rather than how was your day?
Yeah.
How, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I hate that question.
Yeah, how was your
Yeah.
day? Because it's
It
just
it
good.
seems very inauthentic.
Yeah.
You're right.
How was your day? I don't want to report what my day was like. I would rather a question, or maybe even not even question, but just hearing, I appreciate everything that you're doing for us. I will feel like Superman. I will go through a wall for somebody that says that for me, without a doubt.
Yeah,
Interesting.
absolutely. I feel the same.
Yeah. So, and then we think about the dating culture that we're in today, and we're talking about emotional availability. From my perspective, for mental health and how it affects people, men and women alike, it's hard. And it's really hard for them to see if that person is emotionally available,
Sure.
or maybe they don't want to see that they're not emotionally available.
The person asking doesn't want to see the person on the other side of the table is emotionally unavailable.
And vice versa, both. And so then they come to therapy.
Sure.
And they're single and they're upset. We're thinking maybe, 25 to now we're in this whole, people are getting divorced, women are leaving their husbands, there's just so much happening
Sure.
in relationships right now that they come to therapy thinking they are broken. Like the person is broken, but they're not thinking that the person who is emotionally unavailable that they may be dating isn't broken. I don't see anyone as a broken person, but they are feeling that way themselves because they aren't getting what they need out of that unemotional, like that person who has no emotion,
Right.
or they're not emotionally available,
Or they just don't communicate that emotion.
Yeah. So when I have those people from a therapeutic standpoint, I help my patients build themselves back up.
Sure.
Because
Crucial.
I don't know their date. I don't know their date's past. I don't know what that date looked like other than from my patient's perspective. And so how do you help someone know who is emotionally available and who isn't?
Well, you hit on something super important. I'd say like the majority of the work that I do, you would probably think that I'm helping people like write text messages and update their Bumble profile. But no, a lot of the work is making sure they understand themselves before they go out to dating war, if you want to say. Like, I got to make sure you are okay with being rejected. I got to make sure you're communicating like to a much higher level than what most people do on dates, and that they're conducting themselves authentically. I think that there's so much out there on social media that's this negative masculine, negative feminine rhetoric that either one of those you are likely failing at. You are the bad person in someone's story, and it makes people just not behave authentically. They're trying to be what that other person needs or says that they are looking for. So first of all, I want to say this. There's a question that does get asked on first dates that people need to stop asking.
What is it?
So what are you looking for?
Oh,
Yes.
That question needs to stop
Yes.
being asked, because the person who's getting that, as soon as they start hearing what you're looking for, they're like, I can be that. I will be that and get out of you what I want. That is one of the most dangerous first date questions to ask.
Both male and female ask
Both
it.
male and female. Yep.
Interesting.
Yes.
That makes so much sense.
It
But I feel like that's
does.
the question. I feel like that's the question that everybody has always asked.
Sure.
What are you looking for in a partner?
Well, and let me ask you this. Do you think people in the dating world right now are they dating to find a spouse, or are they just dating for
To just
to
occupy
date?
time?
Right.
Yeah.
Like it, and I guess is that what you're trying to figure out as their coach, is like, what is the purpose of this for you?
I think that a lot of the way that people are dating is a little bit too transactional, a little bit too outcome oriented. So like when somebody applies to college and they want to be a psychologist, they have a very specific outcome. That's what they're looking for. But when we're going on a date with somebody, we shouldn't be like, I'm looking to get married. That's fine. But going with that mindset, you're going to most likely qualify people who aren't qualified for that space because you want it so badly. I'll stick with the college example. If you're not getting the acceptances from the schools that you want, you're going to likely take an acceptance from a school that's not very good. And you're just going to take it. It's like, I just got to get into a program. Stop rushing to get into a program. Stop rushing to get into a relationship, because when you are outcome oriented, you miss the entire journey. You miss everything that dating is supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to be meeting people and removing them if they're not going to, accentuate the things that you're looking for in your life. And I think a lot of people just don't know how to do that properly.
I think you're right. I think I probably had
Yeah.
no idea what I was doing, right?
Yeah, and that's like getting into the dating world. I tell patients, like, it's been a while since I have been in the dating world of understanding what it's even like, and I can't even imagine what some of these people who have been in dating apps or the dating world for a long time, and they just keep getting rejected, or they just keep getting, I guess I want to say men, but I'm not. I'm going to say men or women. They find these dates. They get what they want out of the date, and then they move on.
Yes.
And then both parties can be extremely hurt.
For sure.
And I guess most of my audience or people would want to know how to avoid that. But I guess that's you teaching
How to
them.
avoid getting hurt?
Yeah, well, yeah. But I think it's like you were saying, knowing yourself 1st rather than I'm ready to date.
Sure.
Right.
Knowing yourself and knowing that there's no way of avoiding the pain in dating is going to change everything about the way you view dating. Knowing that you're going to survive a breakup, knowing you're going to be okay if they don't call you back, knowing you're going to be okay if you get ghosted and you get no answers as to why, knowing that you're going to be okay even if you got cheated on, like knowing yourself, knowing that you are strong enough to withstand that. And I'm going to say this. I actually had a pattern this past week where I had to say this to 4 different clients, because that was the question. That was the underlying message, was how do I avoid the pain? I said, you will never be able to avoid the pain, even if you make it to marriage.
Yeah.
At some point, your partner's going to leave. Like I will get teared up just saying this. There is no way to avoid the pain of somebody disappointing and leaving you.
Yeah.
It's going to happen at some point. Buckle up. This is life. It just is what it is. Now, we can do our best to mitigate that, but just know that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You are going to be okay, and you need to be doing everything you can to have your own identity outside of dating and your relationships and your partner. You need to be a self-sustaining entity.
Yeah. I guess I was going to say, to like thinking about the pain or hurt or, I mean, there's pain in marriage. There's trials in marriage.
Sure.
There's
Sure.
ups and downs. Like I do tell patients often, sometimes love itself isn't enough to keep someone, like to make someone stay, especially like if I have a patient that comes in and they're divorced or they're getting divorced out of nowhere. And I have to say to them, you cannot make someone stay.
Yeah.
And even though that, like, they are feeling the hurt, and I know they're feeling the hurt, but there isn't anything he or she could have done in that moment. Because usually most of the time when they come to marriage and family therapy, someone's already got their foot out the door.
Right.
And they don't like to hear that, but that's the truth. And that's actually statistically research based.
Yeah.
So it is, I guess that's true.
Even if they pass away, like old age, your partner is going to leave you at some point. There's no escaping it. So we just have to be okay with that. We have to understand that pain is going to come no matter what.
Right.
Yeah. I do have one last question. I'm
Okay.
sure we may be wrapping up this episode soon, but what do you feel? Because of my algorithm on social media and being a therapist, and I'm liking every therapeutic saying or a coach is saying something that's like, oh my gosh, that was so good. What, as a coach and as an expert in dating, when you hear if they wanted to, they would. It is all over the place.
It is. It's not true.
Okay.
If they wanted to, they would. There are so many people that really want to be able to show up the way that somebody else deserves for them to show up, and they just can't, whether it's trauma, space, financial issues, family issues. That if he wanted to, he would, has got to die.
It's everywhere.
That has to stop, because all that's doing is, usually it's just we hear that for the guys.
Yeah.
Like it's being told to the guys, if you really wanted to, because we're so used to these romance movies and books saying like he's climbing mountains, he's traversing the ocean for, like, that's not real life.
But I think too, as a woman, and like age, we're young. Let's just,
All right.
we're so young.
Okay.
But generationally, we've been taught, I was always taught, never call a guy first.
Right.
The guy's going to come to the door. The guy, like, he's not going to blow the horn and you come out to the car. Like, that's how I was raised.
Right.
You're not going to call a guy. A guy's going to pursue you.
Right.
But that's not the case in reality today as far as dating.
If he doesn't have the things in his way that would keep him from being able to do that, he should be pursuing you to the best of his ability.
Okay.
A lot of guys see that very quickly down the road, they're going to let you down. And they will soft fade, they will self-sabotage, they will remove themselves before you see their inadequacy. Happens all the time. I almost did that to my wife. I was 12 hours away from breaking up with her for no reason other than I didn't think I was going to be able to measure up. Wow. That was it. She did nothing wrong. Nothing.
You did it to yourself.
I was completely limited to what I thought I was able to provide for her. I had to have a friend actually talk me down from that. I'm serious. So guys do that all the time.
Wow. I feel like ladies are going to hear this and be like, oh, this makes so much sense.
Yes.
And maybe men will hear it and say, yes, that's me.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. I think this was a good starter to kind of dip our toes in the water of what dating is what's really happening right now, questions that are being asked, what you're hearing, what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And then there's so much more, though. It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So I think we've got lots more episodes to come, guys.
I can't wait.
Thanks, guys.
Be sure to follow our podcast on your favorite platform or find us on YouTube. Just a quick note. It's a Mental Thing is here to inform and inspire, but it's not a substitute for professional medical advice. If you're facing a mental health challenge, we encourage you to seek help from a licensed therapist like Erica or a healthcare provider. Remember, your well-being is personal, and only a professional can provide guidance tailored to your unique needs.